This app is live in Apple's App Store. I built it with Claude Code and Codex despite being a delivery manager and not a software developer. The first working search took a weekend to get going, but turning it into an actual product took 3 months. 1 App Store rejection, 2 billion systems to wrangle with, a bug that only appeared after midnight, and a nice polished swimming search that actually turned out to be a pond contractor. So this is the part that most AI coding demos usually leave out, what it actually takes to ship, what the agents were genuinely good at, and which decisions still stayed with me. I'm a delivery manager by trade, not a software developer. I'm also a data free, and the same question appears every weekend and school holidays. What are we actually going to do with the kids? That answer changes obviously with where you live, your kids' ages, the weather, distance, cost, and whether or not the place is actually suitable. Normally that means a weather app, Google Maps, several browser tabs, and someone eventually saying, shall we just go to the park? I wanted one useful search and one place to go to help me solve this problem. In the app, I can enter a public postcode, multiple age groups, choose the date, distance, budget, whether I need an indoor or an outdoor option, and then I'll get a short list with age fit, cost, booking guidance, directions, and a map. The journey is the bit worth building. Everything else exists to make it trustworthy enough to use. The first commit to GitHub was on the 6th of March 2026. The prototype was a small web app with an Express backend and using OpenAI to do the AI searches. It took a postcode and an age group and checked the weather and produced some activity ideas. That was the satisfying part. Type something in, press a button, watch AI do its thing. It was also nowhere near an actual product that could be released to the wild. At that point, I didn't even show it to my family. A product needed real venue candidates, accounts, usage limits, privacy controls, payments, purchase restoration, app store disclosures, monitoring, native photos and tests. The search box took a weekend, and the boring bits took the next 3 months. Version 1 hit the UK Apple App Store on the 5th of June 2026. It looks like a neat journey when you put 3 dates on a line. It did not feel neat while I was in it. Now, one of the better decisions that I made early on was not to turn it into a full-blown search agent. It follows a fixed path, the postcodes become coordinates, the date gives us a weather forecast, AI turns the family's needs into activity categories, and then Google Places finds real venue candidates. Then AI writes useful cards around those candidates and gives us some more information about those activities. Now that middle step there matters. Early on, one polished result recommendation looked like an aquatics venue. It turned out it was a pond contractor. That's why we test. Thank you to my brother for finding that bug. Now, the easy story would be that the language model hallucinated it. No, it hadn't. Google Places had matched it too loosely, and the model had confidently written around weak evidence from Google. A better prompt would not have fixed the source of the mistake. So that became the rule for the whole build. When a pipeline gives you a bad answer, find the stage that introduced the bad evidence before you ask AI to rewrite the words. The workflow was less magical than most AI coding demos make it look. I set the direction, made the product calls, Claude helped with the architecture and detailed implementation prompts. Claude Code did a lot of the early build against the repo. Later, I moved over to Codex for further changes, bug fixing, hardening, and release work. The important handover was not between 2 models. It was between each new session and the actual state of the project. The repository carries the current status, architecture, design system, and decision log. That every task that becomes a prompt has one objective. We specify the files involved, the behavior, edge cases, acceptance criteria, tests, and the commit at the end of it that it should produce. The prompts gradually started looking less like magic spells and started looking like proper delivery tickets, something I am very familiar and comfortable with. Every session opened by reading the state and closed by updating it. Now, when I skipped that closeout, the next session started cold and I had to waste half an hour making sure either Claude or ChatGPT was up to speed with the latest information. And after several good commits remained on my laptop, push to main became an acceptance criteria too. AI is very good at stopping just before the bit you assumed was obvious. The failures are where this stopped being just a demo. My favorite bug only appeared after midnight. I left the Android version of the app open on a Google Pixel overnight. The next day, the page still held yesterday as the earliest valid date. Hidden form validation rejected the search with no useful feedback, and the button and the whole app just looked dead. The bug had been sitting across the web version and the iPhone version too. The web view was simply the first place it became obvious. Now, the fix was relatively small once we'd figured that out. Refresh the local date walls when the page loads, returns from the background, and submits. The lesson itself was much more valuable and bigger though. Test changes in time and state, not only the easy path that you can just blast through in 30 seconds. Payments produce an entirely different set of challenges. I had an issue where a payment could verify. It would write premium access to the backend database, and then the app would ask for the subscription again, even though the right was already there, the user had paid, but the screen still looked like you were on the free version. Now, those aren't the kind of bugs that appear in one of these build an AI app in 20 minutes videos. They appear where money, identity, and distributed systems meet. Then, Apple rejected the first submission of the application on 2 grounds in the same review. The reviewer could see that I'd left the web cookie banner that would pop up inside the iPhone app, and that the subscription journey didn't show enough information before the purchase sheet with the price and the details appeared. The iPhone version stopped loading Google Analytics, the cookie banner was suppressed inside the app, and privacy labels were corrected. A postcode typed into a box is not the same as asking a phone for its location. Now, the subscription problem forced a bigger change. I had decided a custom paywall was unnecessary. Apple disagreed, correctly. The app needed to show the live price, billing terms, and legal links before asking someone to buy. Now, this is the first time I'm submitting anything to the App Store, so this is all new to me and I'm learning as I go. And then, while I was recording the proof for the resubmission, a completely fresh Sandbox account exposed another bug. That got fixed at the cause as well, and then the next build was approved and I had an app live in the App Store. An incredible feeling, and something that before AI coding, I would never have been able to done by myself. Now, the product is essentially one web app with 2 thin native shells around it. So essentially designed to run in a web browser, and you can go on the website and you can work it there, with a Apple shell around it to work on Apple devices and an Android shell around it to work on Android phone devices. Now, the iPhone shell uses Apple's purchase system. The Android shell uses Google Play billing. One code base did not mean one release. On Android, I had a bit of an argument with Claude, as it advised to ship without billing, which to me was completely crazy, offering a product that would only allow the user a limited number of searches and then give them no option to subscribe and access unlimited searches. It just appeared completely dumb to me. A user could hit the free limit and reach a dead end with no way to upgrade it. Billing wasn't the polish that Claude was trying to sell me on, it completed the product journey. So don't blindly follow what the AIs are telling you. Think, use your brain, and challenge where it makes sense. Newer personal Google Play accounts need to run a closed test with at least 12 people for 14 days before you can push an app to production. So that's where I'm at with Android at the moment. Just about to start this closed test. Claude Code and Codex were extremely useful when the job was defined. They could quite happily make coordinated changes across several files, trace failures through logs and code, and then build the same contract on a second platform, add those tests, execute tests, and handle repetitive release work far faster than I or any human could have done by hand. But they could also implement a weak decision quickly. They did not decide whether a venue was good enough for a parent to trust. They did not own the privacy promise, subscription journey, commercial trade-off, or release accountability. The useful split was simple, right? The agents did a remarkable amount of engineering and are great at it, but I still own the problem, the evidence, the priorities, and, most importantly, the consequences. So what did I learn? What would I do again? If I started an ever app this way, I would keep 5 rules here. Start with one painful job and prove one complete user journey before adding in any fancy bells and whistles in terms of features. Make sure you have real evidence between the model and any public claim. Better wording and disclaimers cannot rescue weak data. That just ruins trust. Keep the project state in the repository, not one long AI chat. Record why decisions were made and not only what was completed. This helps massively when you're a month and a half down the line and you have to try and remember why you made a decision about something. Treat accounts, payments, analytics, privacy, and store release as product work from the beginning. They are not the tidy up phase. They are actually for yourself. They are the bulk of the work, the unglamorous, and to be honest, boring part. And decide what success means before expansion creates more work. So for this app, for example, at the moment, it's UK based. The threshold for me is hitting 100 paying subscribers. And at that point, I'll look to expand it into different countries. Until then, it's not a validated business as of yet. So the iPhone app is live now. It's live today. You can go and download it. The Android version is starting closed testing in the next week or two, where it's full billing cycle verified. So to wrap, can somebody who is not a software developer by trade use AI coding agents to ship a real app? Yes, absolutely, but with quite a large asterisk. The tools can remove an extraordinary amount of work when it comes to the manual coding barrier that has been there for decades. But they do not remove the need for product judgment and taste, evidence, testing, privacy decisions, payments, or somebody being accountable when a result hits a real user. They make work move faster. They do not make you less responsible for it. Now, the App Store link is down below if you're in the UK and want to try it. And for a much smaller AI build that you can copy without arguing with 2 app stores and use anywhere, check out my AI Second Brain video, which is up on the screen now. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and stay peachy.